Halifax out for the second half and keen to get going to cement 2 points. Keep them in touch with the Leeds Centurions and London Broncos. At the moment it looks like a 3-horse race for that 4th place with London, Lee and Halifax. Where London's form has dipped a little bit, Leeds has improved after an early season disaster. Halifax had a healthy winning sequence until last week. We're looking to put that right this afternoon before a week off for the Challenge Cup and Dewsbury at home the following week. And then what potentially has the potential to be a massive match in Blackpool against Featherstone Rovers at Summer Bash. Morrell kicks off, drops the ball down in front of the Sheffield standoff Costello, and puts the ball inside to Burns, who now plays it. Greg Burns. Halifax moving up quickly in attack, but Sheffield showing a bit of enthusiasm in the opening set of 6 and getting into the Halifax half with the ball, something they did rarely in the first half. There's opportunities earlier on for the Eagles side. Opportunity ends with the ball bouncing into touch on the far side of the field. Well, that's probably the best set that the Sheffield Eagles have had in this match so far. Playing out to the last kick, putting the ball into touch, not as deep as they'd like probably, but having the confidence to go through the full set without error. That'd be a bad thing. And now see how good the defence is and if it's improved on the first half. Sean Jones is on for the start of the second half. Takes a strong run up, takes 3 defenders to stop him. Ben Johnson gets it to Shane Grady, who goes down 2 metres from halfway. Brandon Moore to Johnson, Johnson to Tyra with a handoff and then put to ground by 2 of the Eagles defenders. Ben Johnson looking for runners, hands will Marr falls on the 30-metre line. Lots of shouts from the Halifax defence as Johnson, a little toe through by Johnson. None of the Eagles defenders seem to want to react to that. Spedding left it for Blackmore. He wasn't really interested, and so they let the ball go harmlessly out of play and opt for the scrum on the 10-metre line. Almost NRL-like conditions with people sat on the grass bankings around the ground. Just a small stand that runs half the length of the opposite side of the field. But I suppose what the Eagles need, Johnson trying to put Spedding off his stride and Spedding turning back inside. And Halifax are going to try and continue their good defence from the first half and keep the Eagles in their own half of the field. And so far successfully doing that. But, Eagles showed a bit more commitment in defence, in attack rather. Paddy Burns, well tackled by Morris on the 40, and the Eagles will opt to run it with Jack Ashworth, and another good tackle, this time from Grady on halfway. Well, they made halfway, they'll go into the Halifax half but without the ball as QLT shouts for it. Well, this could end up anywhere, but on the floor in a 2-man tackle for QLT this time. Will Sharp drops the shoulder, can't break down the door of the Sheffield defence. Saltonstall goes from acting half, catches the defence and has beat 3 players. Johnson outside him, Johnson running for the line, but the ball will come back for another forward pass, and Halifax could have been setting the ball rolling for the second half there, but the pass, well, it deserved better after Saltonstall beat 3 defenders and got his pass away. But the referee calls back for the forward pass. It can't be in that far forward. But the referee in a good position. Ashworth looks outside and drops the shoulder, doesn't find the gap in Halifax defence. Moving to make the tackle, Spedding off the mark, gets to the 40. Difficult with some of these lines to know which one's which. There's that many markings on the field. The only one that's clearly in space is the halfway line, which is where the Eagles are now, a metre inside the Halifax half, and Thomas gets the pass away again. Barber in quickly off the wing, taking Sharp with him, leaving opportunities on the outside, but they're up that quick. But Sheffield are unable to think quick enough to get the ball out wide. Last tackle. Eagles in Halifax territory. Will they run it or will they go to Thomas for the kick, which they do. Saltonstall stands underneath it and fields it well for Halifax. Grady driving it forward and almost stepping through there. Needed a tackle around the legs from Max Garcia. The dual reds from 2018 is Garcia. Halifax are gifted another piggyback penalty out of their own half. It doesn't even look like Mark Aston's appeared for the second half with his coaching staff, unless he's decided to spend it down on the field, because he's not upon his usual perch. Oh, well, I think he's possibly making his way now, but at the moment it's not going to look any better from wherever he stands for Mark Aston, with Halifax with the ball again and his side giving away another penalty. In a promising position, even if it was in defence, it was still in the Halifax half, and Ed Barber down the far side carrying the ball up to the defence. Sean Jones, oh, big handoff from Sean Jones. Burns did well to keep hold there. Greg Burns. Johnson, Halifax creating something here. Tyra out to Saltonstall, and Saltonstall in at the corner, couldn't take the pass. Perhaps was one he had to stretch out for, but under no pressure. He's created one that's pulled back for a forward pass, and that one, if it had stuck, would have been another certain 4 points for Halifax, but it stays at 30-0. And obviously it's 30-0 up on a day like today. It's quite difficult to motivate yourself, I would imagine, to continue where you left off. It's something Halifax are trying to do, but have been denied twice. And a knock on. They might not be denied this time though, because another error from the Eagles defence has given Halifax possession. And there's a lot of heads hanging on the Sheffield side of the field, which doesn't augur well for the next 35 minutes of this game, or 30 minutes even of this game, as Halifax look to move it out wide. Off goes QLT, gets the ball away to Barber. Will Sharp manages to knock it back, but only succeeds in giving possession away to the Eagles. Adam Swift might get a chance, gets away from one, gets the offload away. The support there from Greg Burns, and Burns eventually falls to the tackle of the Halifax defence. Oh, and then puts the ball down. Can you believe it? Max Garcia spills the ball after great work from Greg Burns, carrying the ball 40 metres. Some good interpassing from Swift and support from Burns, and another Eagles attack falls apart with another error. Oh, well, if that's how Eagles have played throughout the season, error-strewn games, and you can see where the defeats are coming from and the lack of confidence. Completed a double over Rochdale last week at the Crown Isle Arena, scraped by Swinton past 1 point, so they're out of the relegation zone, but the worries are not over. 4 points in front of Rochdale. You would think a couple of wins would secure Sheffield's championship status, but I wonder whether they can actually retain their financial status and be a competitive side next season. Brandon Moore ripping the defence up and charging the ball up 20 metres for Halifax. And putting pressure on again, perhaps at the third time of asking. They might get the ball near the try line. They do. Johnson's kick, or putting pressure on the fullback Ryan Miller, and he said, well, there's potential for a deep in goal area, but Garcia running it out of play. And probably enough for another good 2 metres of in goal area here at the Legacy Olympic Stadium. But Garcia forced to take the ball out of play, never really made much of an effort for it. He was always going to be in trouble, I think, and it proved so. As Johnston screams for the ball, gives it to Will Marr, and Marr charging it back to the Eagles defence, and look how many Eagles defenders around Will Marr to stop him there. 4. Halifax looking to capitalise, and Fairbank off the short ball from looking to offload, I think, well, does, and then there's a hand in from an Eagles player. Well, they're just making it worse for themselves, for the Eagles, where they're not giving possession away through errors, they're giving it away through penalties. Will Marr will have another go, and he's trying to hold defenders off, shrugs defenders off, but eventually there's too many to make any more progress. Brandon Moore to Morrell, and Halifax captain going for the line. The Eagles defend getting this time. Johnson, will he dip the shoulder? No, gets it to QLT. Oh, clever play from QLT. Off the boot, and Tyrett is adjudged to have dropped it over the line. Well, how many points could Halifax have had in the first half, and already in this second half they've thrown away? Oh, put down. QLT's kick then into the hands of Tyrett. Had to bend to catch it, but couldn't bend to put the ball down on the ground, so the Eagles will scrum on the 10 metre line again. I don't think Halifax will be too worried, because the frequency of visits into the Halifax half with this ball by the Sheffield Eagles is not a figure to worry the Halifax defence, because they know that if they get there, the chances are they're going to put the ball down anyway, make an error, or even give a penalty away, which is what they've seemed to do on a lot of occasions. And Blackmore was tackled further back. Referee makes him go back and play the ball, and eventually we will continue with this game, I'm sure. Here we go now. Burns gets it away. Magrin back on for the Eagles. That's a good run. Need a few more of them. Will they get one from Macklin, the fullback? Fairly stocky fullback is Corey Macklin, the USA internationally. In fact, it's 28 on the team sheet. He's got 29 on his back. Thomas steps, runs. Thomas breaking through, needs support, gets the ball out wide. Adam Swift has got it. Can he put the ball down? But it's squirmed out of his grasp and go back for a tap on the 20-metre line. A good play by Oscar Thomas. We've seen the best of him there, the former London Broncos player. Came here from Bradford last season. Surprising that he's not been picked up by a club in Super League or higher up the league, Oscar Thomas, because he showed the skills there that he possesses. And perhaps one of the few times he's been a bit limited in his opportunities throughout this game, throughout this season. Saltonstall gets a loose pass away. Brandon Moore picks it up and gets to halfway. Will Sharp gets it to Johnson. Shouts from a forward pass. Johnson gets it back to Saltonstall, and Saltonstall is mauled to the ground by 3 on the, not too short of the 40-metre line. Johnson, good ball inside, and off goes QLT again, but good tackle. Macklin marking his opposite number, and another ball is put down, this time by Dan Fleming. Halifax really dropping off the intensity they're putting in the first 20 minutes. Of course, they don't really need it at 30 points to 0. But for the even for the confidence, you need the passes to stick. Not really any particularly bad passes. And you wouldn't expect as many errors, handling errors, on a day like today as you would, say, as last week, or when the snow was falling at Halifax when they beat Sheffield earlier in the season. But there seems to be a distinct handling problem for both sides, and more so for Halifax in this second half, whose completion rate will have dropped significantly. So the Eagles will bring the ball away again. Halifax moving in quickly. Well, he's still holding up in defence, Halifax, against that run from John Magrin, and still keeping the Eagles for the most part in their own half of the field. Ben Blackmore trying to take it up, but disappearing under Jones and Moore's tackle. Oh, that's a good ball. Max Garcia taking a good short pass, line ball. Last tackle just inside Halifax half again, and Oscar Thomas will go to the air. QLT underneath it, and well, QLT have been taking them in Sheffield for 7 years before he went to Toronto and Halifax, and there's no problem again with that one. And Halifax will try and take the ball back upfield again. They've done it successfully so far, and Johnson manages the football skills and the regather of Saltonstall's pass. And once again, it's a stray pass, and that one is also a stray pass which has gone forward. They tried to squeeze the ball out from captain Scott Morrell. Once again, there's a long break. There's not many water carriers on. They've got one on for the Eagles. Halifax do have one on. Normally, even on coldest days, there's usually 2 or 3 on. And the Eagles have got an opportunity in the Halifax half with tackles in the bank. Spedding trying to force a way down the narrow side. 18 minutes through the second half, 30 points to 0. And a second indiscretion from Halifax gives the Eagles another penalty. Well, maybe now an opportunity for the Eagles to break the duck if they can keep hold of the ball for 6 tackles. McAlim gets the ball away to Garcia, and Garcia takes the Eagles in 10 or 11 metres. McAlim again looking for a way through, trying to emulate QLT from his days here, but not find his way through the Halifax defence. Burns to his brother, as he knows, Oscar Thomas. Sheffield trying to plunder a try. Well, they've got over the line, but there's a whole posse of Halifax defenders making sure the ball's not touched down over the line. John Magrin held up by 4 or 5 Halifax defenders. He'll have to go back to the 10 and play the ball. Burns, Thomas. Looked as though he was missing out the man, but gave out the short ball. Last tackle. And the Eagles, have they finally got over? Looks like they have, and I think it's Max Garcia. No, it isn't. Oh, I'm not sure who it is. It looked like Garcia. Whoever it was. The Eagles have come back against the run of play. It looks like the try's being given to Fozzard the hooker. And finally, Sheffield have something to show for their efforts from really the first real serious amount of time they spent in the Halifax half since there's 3 back-to-back sets in the first half. This time they managed to post the points, and Oscar Thomas will try and convert from 3 metres in from the far touchline to narrow this Halifax lead. And midway through the second half, well, Halifax shouldn't be worrying, but they would have been happy with the tries had they been able to put the ball down correctly or catch the pass, because it's let Sheffield back in. You can't afford to take your foot off the gas. It's 30 points to 6 to Halifax. The fact that Sheffield on the board will now give them some encouragement and enthusiasm, no doubt, to try and continue their comeback, if there is to be one. Morell's kick, second by McAlim at full-back. Given to Ashworth. Well, a bit more purpose in the running from Sheffield now. More oomph in the bodily contact as Burns turns it back inside. Sheffield suddenly making it further and further with the meter gains from the play of the balls. Burns to Thomas. Thomas gets it out wide. The Eagles throwing the ball out, and thankfully for Halifax, they've returned to their old ways of the Sheffield Eagles after that try, after looking like they'd been spurred on. Offerdall and Ashworth's carry out of defence comes to nothing as the ball is thrown into touch on the far side of the field, and Halifax will get possession. Well, Mark Offerdall went down onto his knees and looks like he needs medical attention. And Halifax will now try to put right what's been going wrong for the first 17.5 minutes or so of the second half, or the 13 minutes rather, clock going the way around here, and finally post some points to just keep that lead, keep the confidence. Will Sharp with the first run, and Ben Kay. That's a good tackle by Burns. No shortage of commitment, but Halifax able to progress a bit further, but Sean Jones, the referee, hadn't called out. Ben Johnson brings QLT into the line, but he's watched by McAlim again. Well, must have been given that specific role by Mark Aston. Although I didn't see him appear in the first half when he went through to score that try, and Sean Jones plundering more yards towards that Eagles line again. Scott Morrell gets his pass away. QLT marked again on that far side of the field. Last tackle, kick through from Ben Kay. Could be problems for McAlim here. And Halifax swarming all over him. He's disappeared under a pile of blue shirts as the Eagles full back as Halifax force another drop out. Well, a subdued and a little bit laboured start from this second half from Halifax with no points to show yet. Saltonstall will retrieve the kick and run it back at the Eagles defence and carry it back 15 metres diagonally, take it to centre field and tackle on the 30-metre line. Jacob Fairbank looks for the one-handed offload, but sped in the way of that option. Ben Kay to Morrell, over to Ed Barber, and Barber trying to use his strength down the outside, driving towards the line and brought down 2 metres away. Good run from Barber. Halifax still yet to breach that Sheffield line in the second half. Morrell looking to do it the same way again. The Halifax captain almost there, giving the ball away to Oscar Thomas. Oh, Halifax trying something they didn't really need to. All about possession, frustrating the opposition, and they're only frustrating themselves with a number of passes that have gone astray out of hand early in this second half. Early in this second half, can't believe there's less than 15 minutes to go, and that's a massive 40-20 from Oscar Thomas from deep inside his own half, and Eagles will get the play on the Halifax 10 with a tap. No need for the scrub anymore. And once again the referee holding the play up, slowing down the Eagles' slim advantage that they had there as Halifax were retreating into defence. Magrin charging forward. Referee still not happy with the play of the ball. Well, Magrin was going at some pace then. Well, I'll have another go, but it's going from a standing start this time, so he's much easier to push down on the floor. Burns gets the ball away, queuing up. The Eagles can't get the ball out wide enough to Blackmore, who was stood unmarked, and Halifax will give a penalty away. Eagles looking for the second try. McAlim gets it away to Oscar Thomas, moves it out wide. Sharp comes out, and Swift caught with the ball along with Ed Barber. And the referee is calling Dan Fleming out for something. Shoulder charge. Not sure what that one is, but the Eagles are running up to the Halifax post again. Well, a glorious opportunity now with back-to-back sets again. Magrin gets the ball to charge to the line, and Halifax there again around Magrin, holding him up in the in-goal area for the second time in 10 minutes. And once again the Eagles have been gifted too much possession and have made a mess of it and put the ball down, and Halifax will get possession on their own 10-metre line with another scrum. And the way they've played in the second half, there's nothing to say they're going to keep hold of it for the full 6. A real knock-on-a-thon in this second half. a really low penalty count, but you really wouldn't expect players of any real standard to make as many errors as these two sides have this afternoon. Not in these conditions. Not exactly ideal for running about in 25 degrees, but I'm sure there'll be one or two players who've lost a few kilos as they run around this field this afternoon in Sheffield. Nice to watch when it's like this, but it's not a game that'll live long in the memory, I don't think. The result will be remembered more than the actual game itself. The result remembered, hopefully, if Halifax getting another 2 points to keep them in the 3-horse race for the 4th place. But I'm sure Halifax and Richard Marshall know that there's going to have to be a significant improvement to come to play the teams that lie before them, even such as Swinton and Dewsbury. And certainly the top 4 teams Halifax still have to play. Morrell onto the ball, looked for the offload inside, but then took the tackle, gets up and plays it quickly. Ben Kay, John Ogles round the blind side and a switch from Johnson, gets it inside. Ed Barber skips away from 3, skips away from 4, and Ed Barber, will he get reward for a try for his effort? And Ed Barber does, fending off 3 players on his way to the line. Well, it's a long time in coming for Halifax in this second half, and eventually it wasn't down to the handling skills, it was down to the pure power and brute force of Ed Barber, forcing his way through 3 tackles and then managing to get the ball down. Well, he threatened a couple of minutes ago on that far side, couldn't make the line, but they weren't going to stop him this time, the Eagles defence, going over for Halifax's 6th try. And Tara an opportunity to make it 6 from 6 and take him less than 10 goals away from his 600 for Halifax. Well, Mark Ashton's teams looked destined for another defeat, and plenty of Halifax supporters making the trip down the M1 in this bank holiday to enjoy the sunshine probably a bit more than the rugby. Well, it has been a satisfying afternoon with the big victory. That's all Halifax needed. And it could have been much bigger, but they'll take what they can at 36 points to 6 with Tyra's 6th conversion. And realistically, it could have been more than 50. It might still get to that, but with only 11 minutes left, unlikely. I suppose you've got to consider for Halifax what it took out of them playing against the Toronto side last week, because there was a much improved second half performance on Richard Marshall's comments. Salt the stall up with the ball running from dummy half, and the only concern for Halifax this afternoon was to take the 2 points away from South Yorkshire with them. Well, they're going to do that with Fairbank looking to offload again. The support there's just a bit too late. Ben Kay looking for support, offloads to Brandon Moore, has no real space to work in this time. Johnson kicks, might get the regather, he does. It'll be 6 more to go. There's a knock on, but surely it's against the Sheffield side. Well, a wave play on. The kick from Johnson went forward, looked like he was knocked forward by the Eagles player. It certainly made contact. He's given Sheffield the benefit of the doubt as Johnson fumbled it trying to pick it up. Jacob Fairbank of claret running from the nose or the upper lip. Looking for a change of shirt. Well, Fairbank will go back on it into the accustomed position of the wing now that one of his teammates has Steve Tyrer has taken up his place in the front row. Well, as Halifax can't make up the mind who's playing where, Saltonstall has gone into the centre of the field and straight in the action on Spedding with a couple of his teammates, as Jacob Fairbank couldn't come off while the scrum was in progress. He does now, to be replaced by Will Marr. Halifax give away a fourth penalty. And Thomas kicks a big kick on the other side of the field, looking for a late flourish from the Eagles perhaps. They'll run round Burns, gets it away to Magrin, and Magrin trying to use his strength and attracting 4 defenders to him. Good run by Magrin, ended eventually 15 metres out. Burns goes to the left to his brother. Thomas kicks to the outside and the ball is knocked forward in the in-goal area. It'll come back to for a tap on the 20. Well, Oscar Thomas trying to conjure something for the Sheffield Eagles. Saltonstall running the ball up for Halifax. I think trying to win the penalty there, was trying to hold the Sheffield player down. Morris. And then Kate. And a spin away from the potential tacklers unsuccessfully as he goes down. And Wilmar again. Long striding up towards the Eagles 40. Morrell looks outside and finds Ed Barber. Barber away to Will Sharp, closely marked and well marked by Ryan Miller on that far side. So plenty of drinks on again from the players, with 7 minutes left, game beyond doubt, and really just be playing the timeout. Will both of these sides now, they know that the game's over just about. They may look for some more, might Sheffield, but might struggle to get out of their own half again. Halifax putting plenty of bodies around the ball carrier. Oscar Thomas gets the short pass away. Big collision there on halfway. But Sheffield back in the Halifax half, and Greg Burns in acting half too. Oscar Thomas. Macklin gets it away. Spedding on the outside, and Costello trying to cut his way through the defence. Macklin to Garcia. Last tackle will go to Oscar Thomas. Oh, it's gone to Macklin for the kick. Trying to put pressure on QLT, but no real danger for QLT there. 5 metres away from the in-goal area. Takes the ball easily, not under any pressure. And Saltonstall tries to take the ball away. So QLT off again, running into the thick of the defence. Sean Jones And the Eagles called for it then. They knew that Jones was going forward with the ball, he wasn't going to offload it. Same with Will Mart, even though Johnson's shouting for the potential offload in the tackle. Morrell tries to get a bit of spin on the wind, and Ben Blackmore comes straight at Ben Johnson, but Ben Kay was there as well as Johnson. I think Blackmore thinks he deserves a penalty there. Well, I think he's spoken to the referee, and the referee has said, well, if you react like that, the other side will get a penalty. And that is just what Halifax have got from the referee with 4.5 minutes to go. And Ben Blackmore walks away disconsolately. Not sure where he thought he was going to get a penalty from. Tackled by Ben Kay, perhaps he thought he was holding him down. Fleming. 12 metres out from the Eagles line. Morrell runs it up, and Brandon Moore, can he reach the line? No. The Eagles defence managed to pull him down short. Johnson one way, then the other. Johnson's going to go where Brandon Moore went. They're not going to put Johnson down, and Ben Johnson shoots through the defence. Ben Johnston has managed to do something that Brandon Moore couldn't do, although he made a big effort of it, but the Sheffield defenders that tackled Brandon Moore were obviously tired. Ben Johnston saw that and decided to nip through in between the same tackles and put the ball down. Well, the Halifax supporters were thinking they wanted 40, maybe now they're happy because they've got the 40. Ben Johnson's second try of the season in 10 games. Seals a fairly emphatic win for Halifax, but could have been a lot more. Halifax had respected the possession a bit more and made the passes stick. And Steve Tyra, absolutely perfect this afternoon. Perfect 7 for Tyra from 7. Sheffield Eagles 6, Halifax 42, and Johnson's try lighting up what's been a pretty dismal second half in terms of rugby league. But Halifax had the game won at half time. I think the disappointment, if any, is that the score is not greater than it is at the moment, considering the challenges, the opportunities that Halifax have made and the way that they've really contained the Eagles this afternoon. Much of that containment has been in their own half of the field, of course, so it's limited the chances, really limited the chances of the Sheffield Eagles, and that is reflected on the scoreboard with just that one try. The fact that John Magrin has been held up over the line twice with the ball shows Halifax commitment in defence. Get the ball away, Saltonstall, 3 men around him still trying to go forward, 4 men around him, and then eventually bundled to the ground. The Eagles defence calling ball lost, but well, I thought the penalty was going to be blown initially, but the referee with the touch judge has decided that it was an error from Saltonstall, and that the Eagles should get possession on halfway. And probably that will see out the end of this game with the Eagles in possession, with A minute on the clock.
Official attendance 891.
Thomas, long ball out wide to Adam Swift. Swift turns inside, gets away from one, gets away from two. And Swift still trying to do it all on his own in the Sheffield cause. And 30 seconds left. Sheffield want anything else out of this game. Oscar Thomas might be the man that creates it for them, but he's scragged to the ground by the Halifax defence. Oh, chance. Well, the ball has fallen to the ground with Sean Pick, and the last action of a uneventful second half. I might say Halifax 30 points, so they're good at half time. The Eagles signalled their intention in the second half with a try and a goal from Thomas, but couldn't add to that and stayed on 6. Halifax got 2 tries and 2 conversions of their own. Not the same dominant performance it was in the first half, although they created plenty of chances. They'll be happy to go back with the 2 points and another league win that keeps them in contention with a week off next week. Final score, the Olympic Legacy Stadium, it's Sheffield Eagles 6, Halifax 42.